Welcome. Today we're going to explore something truly mind-blowing, the psychology behind the everyday decisions you make without even realizing it. From what you eat for breakfast to the route you take to work, your brain is constantly making decisions, often without you being aware of it. So, how does this happen and why? Stick around to find out. You might just learn something that changes the way you think about your daily life. The power of habit. How routine governs your life. Let's start with something that plays a massive role in your daily decisions: habits. Did you know that up to 45% of your daily actions are driven by habits rather than conscious decisions? That's nearly half of your day on autopilot. Habits form because your brain is always looking for ways to save energy. When you repeat a behavior often enough, your brain creates a neural pathway that makes the behavior automatic. This is great for efficiency, but it also means that many of your daily decisions, like brushing your teeth, driving to work, or even the way you respond to certain situations, are happening without you even noticing. The role of heuristics, mental shortcuts that save time. Next up, let's talk about heuristics. These are the mental shortcuts your brain uses to make quick decisions. Think about the last time you had to choose something quickly, like what to have for lunch or which email to respond to first. Instead of weighing every possible option, your brain uses heuristics to simplify the decision-making process. For example, the availability heuristic is when you base a decision on information that's most readily available in your memory, like choosing a restaurant because it's the first one that comes to mind. While heuristics help you make decisions quickly, they can also lead to biases and errors. But without them, you'd be overwhelmed by the sheer number of decisions you have to make every day. The influence of environment. How surroundings shape choices. Now, let's consider how your environment influences your decisions. Have you ever noticed that you're more likely to eat junk food when it's easily accessible? Or that you're more productive in a well-organized workspace? That's no coincidence. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your behavior. This concept is known as choice architecture, and it's why stores place certain products at eye level, or why apps use specific colors and designs to guide your behavior. The idea is to subtly nudge you toward making certain choices without you even realizing it. So if you want to change a habit or improve your decision making, one of the easiest ways is to adjust your environment. The impact of social influence, how others affect your decisions. Humans are social creatures, and our decisions are heavily influenced by those around us. This phenomenon is known as social influence, and it comes in many forms: peer pressure, social norms, and even the opinions of strangers on the internet. Have you ever found yourself agreeing with a group decision even when you initially disagreed? Or maybe you've changed your opinion after reading a lot of positive reviews about something. This is the power of social influence. Our brains are wired to seek approval and fit in with our social group, which can sometimes lead us to make decisions that we might not have made on our own. The role of emotions. Why you don't always think rationally. Emotions are another major player in decision making. While we like to think that we're rational beings, the truth is our emotions often drive our choices. For example, when you're hungry, you might make impulsive food choices that you wouldn't make if you were full. Or when you're stressed, you might make decisions that provide immediate relief, like buying something you don't need or avoiding a difficult task. This is because emotions have a direct impact on the brain's decision-making areas, often overriding logical thinking. So next time you make a decision, take a moment to check in with your emotions. They might be influencing you more than you realize. The power of framing, how information presentation alters decisions. Let's talk about framing. This is the way information is presented to you, and it can drastically change how you perceive your options. For instance, if a doctor tells you that a procedure has a 90% success rate, you're likely to feel reassured. But if the same doctor tells you there's a 10% chance of failure, you might feel a lot more anxious, even though the statistics are identical. This is the power of framing. Advertisers, politicians, and even your friends and family use framing all the time to influence your decisions. Understanding how framing works can help you see past the spin and make more informed choices. The role of cognitive dissonance, how discomfort drives decision-making. Have you ever felt uneasy after making a decision that didn't align with your beliefs or values? That's cognitive dissonance. The mental discomfort you experience when your actions conflict with your beliefs. To reduce this discomfort, your brain will often justify the decision, even if it was a bad one. For example, if you buy an expensive item you don't really need, you might convince yourself that it was a good investment to ease the discomfort of spending the money. Cognitive dissonance plays a huge role in our decision-making process because it pushes us to seek consistency between our beliefs and actions, sometimes at the expense of rational thinking. Have you ever noticed that making decisions becomes harder as the day goes on? That's decision fatigue at work. Decision fatigue occurs when you've made too many decisions in a short period of time, leaving you mentally exhausted and less capable of making good choices. This is why you might find yourself reaching for junk food or skipping the gym after a long day. You simply don't have the mental energy left to make healthier choices. The key to combating decision fatigue is to simplify your decision-making process by reducing the number of choices you have to make, or by making important decisions earlier in the day when your brain is fresher. Have you ever stuck with something just because it was easier than changing? That's the status quo bias in action. The status quo bias is our tendency to prefer things to stay the same, even when change could be beneficial. This bias occurs because change requires effort, and the unknown can be intimidating. For example, you might stick with the same job, even if you're unhappy, because the idea of finding a new one feels overwhelming. Understanding the status quo bias can help you recognize when you're avoiding change simply because it feels easier, and encourage you to take the steps needed to improve your situation. Last but not least, let's talk about anchoring. Anchoring is the psychological phenomenon where your first piece of information heavily influences your subsequent decisions. For instance, if you're shopping for a car and the first one you see is priced at $30,000, that number will serve as an anchor, and any car priced lower might seem like a better deal, even if it's still expensive. Anchoring is used in everything from marketing to negotiations to shape your perception and influence your choices. Being aware of anchoring can help you take a step back and consider all your options more objectively before making a decision. Wow, it's amazing how many factors influence our everyday decisions, often without us even realizing it. From habits and heuristics to emotions and social influence, our brains are constantly at work behind the scenes, shaping the choices we make. By understanding the psychology behind these decisions, you can start to make more conscious choices and take back control over your daily life. I hope you found these insights into the psychology of decision making as fascinating as I did. Understanding the hidden forces that drive your decisions can be a game changer, helping you to make better choices in your everyday life. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let's spread the knowledge. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever noticed any of these psychological factors at play in your own decision making? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and take care of you or find someone who does.